Right. So the internet's been going crazy about some of the things Michael Porter Jr. has been saying recently. Came across this tweet. Let's see what he said. Reportedly, Michael Porter Jr. won't date anyone who other players have. That doesn't seem too crazy. There was one girl I really liked. She used to talk to a dude in the league, and I was just like, I can't do it. Because if I'm cooking him and he's allowed to say that's why I hit your girl, I get it. No further explanation needed. In the art of competition, there isn't really anything off limits when you're in that battle. And to have another player be able to say, I smashed your girl while you're currently dating her, you lose, my guy. You lose. What can you say after that? There's nothing you're going to say because he did. So to avoid that even taking place in reality, that's something you check for at the beginning, which I don't blame him for going through that process to make sure he doesn't encounter that. I always thought it was weird when NBA players are sharing the same girls anyway. Like when you have certain players, NBA players with the same baby mom. That's crazy. Like that shouldn't happen. You guys have access to too many resources, too much money, too much women to be dealing with the same one. Go find somebody else. Go find someone who hasn't dealt with the rest of the NBA. These shouldn't be problems you're encountering. You should be dealing with better quality women so you don't even have to encounter that scenario. Because if you're dealing with women who have dealt with multiple NBA players, I'm sorry, that isn't probably most likely isn't someone you should be taking seriously. So regardless of that, I think maybe how it came across was a little iffy, but the mindset and or the intent behind it is genuine. So I can't be mad at his thought process behind it because you don't no dude who has access to that amount of resource wants to ever encounter a scenario like that. You don't want to be dealing with a girl who has an extensive history, especially with people that are quote on your coworkers, people that you're going to have to see on a week to week basis. You don't want to have to encounter those problems. So when I see certain players take the precautions to avoid certain things like that, and I know he mentioned sometimes testing women to see if they're the one. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but this right here, not wanting or a preference of not wanting a girl your coworkers have dealt with, that's totally fine with me. I don't see what's the uproar in that because anyone with that amount of money, when you have access to that lifestyle, you get to choose what you want and what you don't want. And he has access to that lifestyle, so he has his preference. We can't chastise him because he's a successful man and wants to make sure that the person who he potentially chooses to spend the rest of his life with is a quality individual. You're going to chastise him for that? Sorry. I'm not going for that. I'm going to support him for having that cognizance to go through that process and see that isn't someone of quality I should probably entertain. A lot of more players would avoid certain trouble and situations if they thought like that. So, hey, kudos to you. Keep going.